Mr. Eads, we've got something else to chat about, and that's the Greeley West High School abatement project progress update. And this is not an action item, it is an information item.
I was going to move that Wayne discusses it.
Well, you can do that, but let's hear what he has to say.
Always happy to talk, but thank you, Mr. President. This will be very brief. Just to let you know what's happening on the site, we do have 4 2-classroom Scotsman mobile units placed on site right now. We'll be hooking them up with low voltage and power soon. Our weekly owners, architects, and contractors meeting will begin the week of April 23rd, so that's always a sign that things are getting very serious. We're planning to do a small upgrade to the fire alarm system as part of this project, which was good news. Pods, which will store classroom materials as we begin to evacuate the building for sections we're going to abate. Those will be delivered the week of May the 4th. And then immediately after that, on May 9th, some students will move out into those portable classrooms to give our abatement contractor a head start on isolating the area and so that we can begin abatement. This is a very, very tightly scheduled project. It's one of the reasons we spread it over 2 summers, but things are proceeding normally, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. Ken Hoyland, the project manager, is here tonight too. If you get one I can't answer. So, but that's just an update, and things are going, proceeding on time. So.
And so for those that missed the unspoken word, what we're doing is removing asbestos from this building over a 2-phase effort.
That's correct. This is a BEST grant-funded project.
Thank you very much.
In 2 phases to get the asbestos out of West. And no matter what happens to West, we own the asbestos, so we have to get it out at some point. Same as John Evans, so it's time to get that project moving. So.
Now, one time in my memory, we were planning on moving some of the operations of West to an elementary school. Now, are we stepping back from that? Will the operations be in part going on at West during the summer?
I think we will have access to the gym,
to the
wrestling room, the auxiliary gym during the summer. Those mechanical systems are isolatable from the rest of the building, so I believe we were able to accommodate most of those activities. So.
Thank you. Mr. Hall.
I'd just like to take this moment. We've talked about a couple pretty major projects here. Wayne has given the updates and many projects within a given project. And you saw a gift bag, a small gift bag that was given to Wayne. All of this in addition to stepping in when asked and running the district affairs of District 6 and doing a very, very wonderful job. Having managed some construction projects in the past, what you have done this year, and certainly you don't ever do it all by yourself, and you've managed your people and done very well, but just the fact that all of this is coming together so well, and the projects are on time and under budget, and
no litigation.
And no litigation, and all of those things, and the negotiations with the successful negotiations with the city of Evans. And I'm just brushing over the top of it, and I'm not trying to blow smoke up your skirt, but people need to understand you've done a heck of a job.
Thanks.
And I take my hat off to you and thank you for it.
Appreciate that.
Thank you, Wayne.
Absolutely.
Well, you're right. There's a big team behind all these efforts, and I'm going to have to add the 2 artificial turf projects and the Early College Academy technology makeover, which are also very significant projects that will have to happen in a matter of weeks, literally. So we'll add those in the coming board meetings.
Too many digits, so it's going to bewilder us, I think. And Mr. Ireland, thank you very much for coming this evening and for your expertise on the projects, as always. I think we're going to take you off the hook for a minute or two, Mr. Eads, just if you don't mind, and ask Amy Saminsky, the Director of Professional Development, to come forward to inform us a little bit about the summer professional development activities and program that we have coming up.
Well, good evening, President DeWitt, Interim Superintendent Eads, and members of the board.
Tonight I am excited to share information about the summer 2015 professional development opportunities for the adult learners in our system. Each year, the Division of Academic Achievement strives to provide just-in-time learning for the adults in our system that are aligned with what our educators are asking for and that align with our district priorities. Although we may not be able to provide absolutely everything, we sure try. And so it's my pleasure to share with you tonight some of the highlights of our offerings for this summer. And they offer our educators many choices and are supported with our general funds and also with grant funds. This diagram illustrates how Learning Forward and our district system works to align professional development with changes in student results. So if you start at the top of the diagram, we start with standards-based professional learning that is based on student needs, is job embedded, and aligned with best practice. And when our professional learning is aligned with these standards, we can expect to see changes in knowledge and skills in our educators, and those lead to changes in educator practice. And this takes implementation support that we talked about a little bit earlier this evening at the work session. And then we can see changes in student results. This diagram is neat because it also works backwards. If we want to see changes in student results, we say, what are the changes in adult actions or educator practice that we need to see? And then what would be the knowledge and skills that our educators would need? And what would be the best professional development to align with that? So we can use this as a model to help us work forwards from the professional learning standards or backwards from our student results to really design professional learning opportunities that change student achievement. Here's the cover of our professional development catalog, and I think you have a copy of it sitting here. And so we think this is quite clever. So there's a PD for that, as kind of a play on words for there's an app for that, which to us really signifies that we have all the bases covered. And as you look through the catalog, you'll see that there are classes for high school art teachers, to an elementary teacher wanting to improve their skills around teaching science, to any of us being better with our relationships or helping students with their behavior. So we worked with the Professional Development Council. This was one of their ideas. And then Casey from our communications department to design this. We also think it's apropos with our focus on blended learning. And you'll see several classes in there in the catalog that are either offered through a blended or online delivery system or help our teachers and educators learn some skills about being a teacher in a blended environment. So many features of the catalog. First of all, it's environmentally friendly. So you have 7 of the only 200 catalogs that we printed this year. Our people said, can we make it electronic and not use so much paper? And so each school building has 5 or 6 copies that they can pass around and share, and our recruiters from Human Resources take these out on the road and show people across the country the opportunities we have for professional learning. But in general, most of our people in the system will be using the book electronically. So it comes in a PDF form, and there's also hyperlinks and bookmarks so you can navigate. Teachers can actually just click on the class that they want to register for. It takes them straight to our registration system, They can click about 3 more buttons and are registered for the class. So we really think that this is an upgrade for this year's catalog. This year's catalog also offers more differentiation. So earlier this year, we started designating all of our classes either as foundational, revisit, or extension. And so foundational are really the basic learning and for people new to the topic. Revisit is an extension of the basic or the foundational with application practice in there. An extension is really for experienced users. And so by designating who the intended audience is and the level of the class, we are hopeful that our educators will be able to make great choices that really align with their needs as educators and with their work in the buildings. There are over 50 new classes this year, and many of those were proposed and are being taught by our teacher leaders in the district. So we especially have some of our art and music and science people. They had noticed there wasn't always internal opportunities for them, and so many of them have stepped up and offered to teach classes for that. You'll also see under each description, it will list the teacher quality standards and the elements that the class aligns with. So if a teacher or their principal says, I really need something around supporting diverse learners in my classroom, they can look for classes with that standard on there. There's a variety of delivery methods, as I mentioned, face-to-face, online, or blended. Our math coaches have really led the charge this year in terms of what blended professional development for our educators can look like. So there's a couple classes where the teachers watch some videos, do some pre-reading before class, and then come and apply that learning in the face-to-face with their colleagues and coaches. And those are a few of those examples in there. The other thing I'd like to mention is that our offerings are really, in largest part, aligned to our important district initiatives. And so, as I shared earlier today, we start at the center of this circle with how can we provide equity and access for all and every student in our system. And we know that we can do that by improving our educator skills across the system. And so we have what we sometimes call our core four, these 4 big district initiatives that are either a priority for new learning or ongoing learning for people in our system. And that includes our alignment with the standards and assessment, our continuing work with the data team process, our blended learning initiative, and then quality instructional strategies. And this is where those strategies for English language learners come in. You may notice in this year's catalog, though, that there are not a lot of classes that are separate for English language learners. And that's because we have charged all of our district directors, coordinators, and coaches to really infuse and embed the strategies for English language learners into every one of our courses. So we've asked them to talk about the scaffolds, how they can include quality interactions and have high expectations and high supports for English language learners in the math class, in the literacy program, or in assessment work. A couple of the highlights of offerings. There are over 140 offerings this summer. And as I mentioned, with over 50 of these being new offerings, in literacy, reading and writing, some of those are instructional coaches are offering a 2-day best practices institute for elementary people at the beginning of June. And they're also offering some early training for our literacy adoption materials. And so they know that teachers get anxious about wanting to get their hands on those materials and start planning lessons for their students, and so they're offering that. For secondary teachers, there's also some literacy classes regarding classroom discussion, vocabulary, argumentative writing, which is aligned to one of the new pushes in the standards, and time and text. Blended learning and technology. This is a continuation, but since it is a focus, we really debated. Do we put blended learning in instruction? It's not just technology, and I think as you've been out visiting classes, you see it's much more than just learning an app or a technology tool. So those are included in there. Social studies and science, really we could not offer these classes without some of our wonderful partners, like the Poudre Learning Center, UNC. You see some classes about using primary texts. And there are many instances where CDE or our community partners have stepped up and just said, we just want to offer the class. They're not expecting to get paid. They just want to improve the skills of our educators. So I find that very exciting. For mathematics, we have the opportunity for our secondary math teachers to work with Dr. David Webb from CU again, and that's to further understand the mathematical practices and formative assessment. And so we're excited with that. And then for our elementary teachers, a lot of that math is the same. So that is comforting a lot of times for our people if they want to revisit an idea or to know not everything has changed. So if I missed it last summer or I want to go deeper, I have those opportunities to do it in the summer when I have a little bit more time and I can get together with my colleagues. And that's one of those classes where we have not put a cap on it. So if 100 people want to take it, we'll divide them up by grade level groups or school groups. If there are 25 people, then we'll still provide some differentiation, but it'll be a little bit smaller. So I really appreciate our coaches. They are very willing to be flexible around that to really respond to the needs of people in our system. We have classes to support our teachers, supporting our advanced learners, and also to support our students with special needs. You'll notice some of the classes are just a half day around the exceptional student services. And we have a lot of our special educators that teach summer school in the morning, and then they want to take classes. And so last summer and this summer, our teachers or directors provide afternoons of training for them. This summer, they're able to kind of pick and choose which ones they want and then combine those together for some credits for District 6. So that's really a fun thing also. Art and music, I already mentioned those, about having some of our teacher leaders step up and provide some very specific training around content and pedagogy connected to each other. We couldn't do all this without our in-district training capacity, so we have lots of teachers, coordinators, coaches, plus leading experts and some of our classified staff. You'll see that you can take a Word class or some of our technology classes, and so we really appreciate everyone that is doing that. We actually have one of the school board members that is helping teach a class this summer also, so Mr. Hafley. So really we've tried to reach out and say who has expertise that they can bring to our teachers and educator, and how can we maximize people's generous wanting to help our teachers. There are so many benefits to our teachers in the system. They have a lot of choice around summer professional learning. They're able to expand their knowledge and skills, improve their effectiveness. They also can earn hours towards license renewal and credits for horizontal advancement on our salary schedule. And I think many people don't realize that all of our internal professional development is free to our teachers in the system. In most other school districts, teachers would be paying out of pocket between $100 and $200 per day to earn even internal district credit. So this is really a benefit to our employees, but really the biggest benefit is to our students in the system. With increased educator knowledge and skills, then it helps all of our students achieve. So registration is open right now. We have, let's see, I checked on Friday and we had at least 800 registrants for our different classes, so that's coming along very well. Teachers have had the catalogs for about a week, and then our principals are working with groups of teachers or individually through these end-of-year conversations and conferences to recommend certain classes. They also encourage their whole third grade team, for example, to go to a training together, because that really supports implementation in the building. So that is our exciting summer professional development. I am happy to answer any questions or clarify anything.